What the hell? Radio check, loud and clear. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We have got FP2 underway very, very shortly at the Hungaroring in Budapest. Lots of action from Formula 2 and Formula 3 in the break in between sessions. Very, very interesting qualifying sessions and kind of an indicator of what we'll have in store for us tomorrow come quali. Hello Peter, hello Kate. Thank you for tuning in. Right, be sure to hit the like button, folks. Track temperature is, I think, a little lower, but we have not got any confirmation. Well, once the data comes through, I will give it a quick refresh and we'll wait and see what the track temperature is, but I think it's cooled down a little bit as we get towards a little later in the evening, or a little later in the afternoon for Budapest time. Right. First practice session, not too many surprises. We had Oliver Behrman stepping in for Nico Hulkenberg in the Haas car. Now, that's to be expected. We're going to see this in future practice sessions as well. We'll have the Haas, one of the Haas cars being driven by Oliver Behrman, of course, as he will be taking a Haas seat next year in 2025, so Haas doing their best to get him some experience in the car. Behrman, of course, just took part in qualifying in F2 and did fairly alright as well. Have you ever been to a Formula 1 race? Unfortunately, no, I have not. I haven't been to the Silverstone Grand Prix. I live in the UK, and it would actually be cheaper for me to fly to Italy and watch Monza than it would be to go to the Silverstone Grand Prix, actually. So I don't know, I will probably go to an F1 race, but nothing planned as of yet. If you guys have been to an F1 race, do feel free to let me know, and if you haven't, then which circuit would you want to watch a race at if money was no object? I think going to Japan and watching a race, that would be pretty awesome, but it is, of course, on the other side of the world. I'm sure flights would be ridiculously expensive for that. Hello, Ava. Who do you think will win? Well, tough to say, isn't it? Tough to say. With 4 teams up at the top of the pack and very, very close in terms of competition, it is truly impossible to predict who will get the whole position. Monaco would be pretty nice. Spa as well, a great circuit to watch a Formula 1 race at. I think it's the second longest circuit on the calendar behind Saudi Arabia. And Spa, of course, has got so much racing history, and the Camel Straight is fantastic. There's a load of grandstands down there. Of course, Eau Rouge and Radion and Eau Rouge are fantastic corners to watch as well. Went to Silverstone for the first time after loving the sport for decades. Ooh, how did you find Silverstone then? Was the first time this year? Because if so, you picked the right year to go. Yeah, defo go to Spa, sit on the grass next to the Camel Straight. That'd be pretty nice, wouldn't it? Went to see the Macau F2 Grand Prix. Macau is another one of the races where Formula 1 doesn't actually race. I don't know why it doesn't race at Macau. I think it might be something to do with the safety, that the Formula 1 cars are quicker than the Formula 2 cars, making it a little too unsafe at Macau. But yeah, Macau is one of those races, just like Monaco, very tight barriers, street circuit, of course, and it's great race, really. Yeah, it's not grade A. Okay, fair enough. That explains why Formula 1 does not race there. Okay, but yeah, the first practice session, nothing too much in terms of surprises. We had a couple of drivers going wide, Carlos Sainz especially. Even though he ended up top of the times, we did see him go wide out of turn number 12 2 times. One time over the gravel, one time over the escape, not the escape road, the exit runoff. But apart from that, we've had a couple of drivers sliding around. Lando Norris, he demonstrated quite perfectly the snowball effect of sliding around on your tyres. He slid the rears coming out of 12, and then because he slid the rears, he had less grip, and then going into 13, he slid the rears more, and then just a continuous effect of worse and worse tyre temperatures and less grip. Wait, Joe was in 5th and Leclerc was in 3rd on hards. Those times aren't the quickest time. So the tyres that they're currently on, like the tyres that it's showing as of now, was the tyres that they ended the session on. That's not necessarily the tyres that they used to set their fastest lap of the session. So yeah, Leclerc set his fastest lap on a set of soft tyres. It was not a set of hard tyres. He just happened to come out on a set of hard tyres at the end of the session. Thanks. The rain on Saturday night was awful. Yeah, I imagine so. It probably wasn't ideal to be there, but the rain, of course, did make the race very, very exciting. And I guess that might have been a fair trade-off to make. I wonder if Brazil could actually get somewhat affordable. Yeah, Brazil, one of the only races sort of in the South America region. Well, in fact, the only race in South America. So there's a lot of people trying to go for that, and then they can, of course, increase the prices. Alright, we have got a 0% chance risk of rain, folks. Not a surprise, to be honest. We have got 300 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. If you haven't hit the like button, then be sure to do so. What has happened to Mercedes? Not too much, really. I mean, they've been just doing their run plans. Hamilton was out on the mediums, Russell was out on the softs. That's why we see the difference between the two teammates, but it is, of course, just practice and not too much to read into. Alright, let's see, have we got the FP2 data coming through? Yes, there we go. I don't know why it says yellow flag, but let's see. I'm sure that will go away shortly. Right. Yeah, very, very hot out there in Hungary. Track temperatures have dropped, though, to 48 degrees, so there's a bit more clouds coming out over the skies, and due to that, track temperature is down. Air temperature is around about the same, but yeah, track temperature, the main thing that has come down. Went to the Assen MotoGP this year, can 100% recommend to anyone in Western Europe. Yeah, I think a MotoGP is a pretty spectacular thing to watch as well. The drivers going pretty similar speeds to Formula One, and of course they're doing it on a bike, and leaning 60 degrees or whatever ridiculous angles that they are leaning. It's quite spectacular, really. I'm in Ireland and can't watch an F1 race IRL. Yeah, well, Ireland's not too far from Silverstone, but of course Silverstone, one of the more expensive races. I'm sure from Ireland you might be able to catch a cheap Ryanair flight to Zandvoort. Who knows? Alright, 7 minutes remain till we get the session underway. Not too much going on. Let me know what you folks are predicting for this weekend. Which team do you think is going to be the quickest? I honestly think Ferrari, second quickest team this weekend. If Red Bull's upgrades work, Ferrari will be the second quickest team. I think in the slow speed, Ferrari have really got this dominance that the other teams can't really compete with, and they've also brought upgrades this weekend, so yeah, hopefully Ferrari can bounce back. They've had a bad couple of weekends, really. Of course, they won in Monaco. Well, Leclerc won in Monaco, and then ever since then, he broke the Monaco curse, but it looked like he got put on with another curse, and he's just been performing terribly ever since. And not just Carlos Sainz as well. Ferrari had double DNFs in Canada, and then their luck didn't get much better after that as well. So who knows? We'll wait and see what Ferrari can do. But I think that this weekend, out of all of the weekends, this was probably their best shot to get back up onto the podium and potentially score some solid points. Oh yeah, Zandvoort's probably very expensive as well. Probably because of Max Verstappen and all of the Dutch fans wanting to go to Max Verstappen's home race. Well, I think Spa is cheaper. I don't know. I haven't actually looked into it because I haven't had the time really to go to a F1 race, and I've also haven't thought about how I would do commentary. I don't know. Maybe do a live vlog or something, like have a camera set up trackside. That would be pretty awesome. But who knows? Hello, OG Ninja. Nice to see you here, buddy. Yeah, nothing much else really. Let's have a look if there's any new F1 news, but not that much has gone on, to be fair. Zandvoort is my home race and very expensive. Hungary is cheap. Yeah, Hungary might be cheaper actually. How was FP1? It's pretty good. Not too much action or anything along those lines, but it was a good session. Drivers going around, gathering some data and information for the remainder of the weekend. Alright folks, if you are enjoying them, be sure to hit the subscribe button, would be greatly appreciated. And let's get underway for this Grand Prix then. Well, for this practice session, not Grand Prix, but I guess it's technically part of the Grand Prix, yeah. I'll definitely be back in 2026. Indeed, 2026 would be a great time to watch Formula 1 after the new regulation changes. Spa is cheaper. There's a lot of grass areas around the track where you can just sit on the ground. Yeah, Spa. Of course, down the Kemmel Straight, you can sit down the Kemmel Straight. Of course, you don't get to watch so much if you're going down the Kemmel Straight. There will be a screen where you can watch the actual race itself, but yeah, interesting. Oh yeah, the tyre strategies. The tyre strategies for this weekend. It's going to be quite tough. Last year, we saw the drivers chose to go with medium, hard, medium, or medium, hard, hard. Those were the two different strategies that the majority of the teams took. Carlos Sainz started on the set of soft tyres. If you watched FP1, then I've already mentioned this, but Carlos Sainz, he started on the softs, gained 5 positions off the race start because the soft tyres were just so much better than the mediums. They are 3 or 4 tenths quicker than the mediums over the course of one lap. So the softs are really optimal for the race start, but then they drop off significantly and they aren't optimal for an actual race stint. Alright, but here we are, round number 13. We are entering the second half of the season now. We've had 12 races. This is the 13th. We have got 3 sectors, 2 DRS zones, the top speeds of reaching 320 kilometers an hour, 14 corners, 30 meters of elevation change. Mainly, the circuit is fairly flat. The only bit of elevation change that we really have is in between turn number 3 and turn number 4. Oh no, turn number 1 and turn number 4. The tyres that we've got from Pirelli's compounds are the C5s, C4 and C3 for the soft, medium and hard respectively. Those are the softest in Pirelli's range. And they've picked those tyres because of the slow speed, low speed nature of the circuit. Yeah. Right, what else have we got going on? Not much really, not much whatsoever. The sun is, of course, out. The fans are quite enjoying it. It's not actually totally full. I think the fans are just filtering their way in now, filling up the seats for the second practice session. The wind has picked up a little bit. We've got 8.3 kilometers per hour wind. Track temperature has decreased from 60 degrees down to 49 degrees. Air temperature's gone from 35 to 31. And those are the conditions for the drivers today. We'll have a lot more rubbering in happening, and FP2, this is the same time qualifying will be tomorrow, I think. Wasn't this track flooded like a week ago? I think it was, yeah. I think it was flooded. I think someone said in FP, in the chat in FP1 that it was flooded, so I'm going to take their word for it. But yeah, this time right now is when Q3 will be happening tomorrow. So yeah, the drivers will be, going out now. Probably they're not going to do quali sims right out at the start, but I think that they will be doing some qualifying sims come the end of this session, and we're going to get something more representative of qualifying. The first session track temperature was just far too high, and now we're going to have a bit more of an accurate read on where the drivers and the teams are. The teams, of course, they will have changed the setup as well. We saw quite a lot of upgrades, so for you new guys that are tuning in, Red Bull have brought a big upgrade package. Ferrari have brought floor upgrades. Aston Martin have brought a big set of upgrades. And then I don't think McLaren have brought anything this weekend, and neither have Mercedes. But yeah, so 2 big upgrade packages for the 2 teams at the top. And yeah, they've got to get acclimatized to those, modify their setup a little bit to suit the new upgrades, and then they should be good to go. So the cars will probably be dialed in at the end of FP1, and they've made the final changes, and now coming out to FP2, we've got Nico Hülkenberg making his way out of the pit lane. Practice has already begun. Actually, in fact, we haven't just got the green flag, the time has just gone to 0, but we'll have the green flag soon enough. Let's get rid of the timer. There we go, 15 seconds is the message to Nico Hülkenberg. Let's wait and see what happens. Oh, we've already hit 100 likes. That is fantastic. Guess I can move the like goal a little higher to probably 200 short. Okay, I'm going to have a quick sip of water, folks. Otherwise, my throat is going to start hurting by the end of Sunday. But we'll have 1 hour of practice. The first couple of drivers out, Nico Hülkenberg, Zhou, Bottas, and Magnussen. Right, yeah, drivers just making their way out onto the circuit. Everyone is on a set of medium tyres, and this is the thing, I don't think we're going to see any more hard tyres this weekend, mainly because the teams will be saving these hard tyres for the race on Sunday, because they're going to need the hard tyres for the race on Sunday, because with exceedingly high track temperatures, the hard tyres will be the way forward. And that is why they're saving them, and we're seeing everyone out on a set of mediums. Yeah, I think I just repeated myself there, but okie dokes. My boy K-Mag not coming back to Haas, but Sauber has a chance to do something hilarious if they sign him. Yeah, Sauber, if they do sign K-Mag, then they will just take Haas's driver lineup and put them in the Sauber team. But I have a feeling that if Sauber were to pick a second driver, and they would pick anyone, not regardless of whatever nationality they are or anything along those lines, I think Valtteri Bottas would be a fantastic choice, simply due to the fact that he's already at the Sauber team, so he knows quite a lot of the mechanics, the way the things work, and that is a very big, a critical part. Like you very much underestimate the relationships that people build are quite key in ensuring that performance is still high and all of these related things. So yeah, Valtteri Bottas would be a good person to keep in the team, but we'll wait and see what the Audi team decide to do. Yeah, we need a Bottas podium. It's been a while. I mean, Bottas hasn't scored any points this season. If you go, he's 21st out of 20. And yeah, there's 20 drivers competing in the championship, and he's 21st in the championship because of Oliver Behrman, who scored points on his when he replaced Carlos Sainz for appendicitis. So, yeah, Valtteri Bottas 21st and 20 driver championship. Not ideal there. Bottas, of course, is a very, very quick driver, but hasn't exactly got the car to show it. Okay. Oh, we've got Piastri coming out on a set of hard tyres. Well, I think he could probably do that because he didn't come out on a set of hards in free practice 1, whereas we saw a couple of teams and a couple of drivers use a set of hards in free practice 1. Yeah. Can't wait to see... Oh, hello, Kimbernator. Can't wait to see this F1 season on Drive to Survive. Indeed, Drive to Survive, great show. Of course, they do make a couple of mistakes. Well, I think they know what they're doing when they make their mistakes, quote unquote mistakes. But yeah, it's done great for the sport. The sport's grown massively because of it. And fantastic to watch the new Formula 1 film as well. I don't know if you folks have seen the trailer for the new Formula 1 film. Let me know what you think. I think it looks amazing. Like, sure, there's some stuff that isn't totally accurate, but it is, if it gets more people into Formula 1, I'm all for it, because it has been, it seems great. Any news about Sainz for 2025? Unfortunately, no. Sainz, well, if you go back through the records of all of the news articles and news outlets, there'll be a rumour for at least Sainz joining every single team in the paddock. There'll be a rumour for Sainz joining Haas, there'll be a rumour for Sainz joining Williams, but as of now, nothing has been confirmed there for Carlos Sainz. I only want to watch it for Gunter Steiner. Indeed, yeah, there is a nice Gunter Steiner clip in the trailer for the F1 film. Do you think need a Rush-like movie for Schumacher instead of documentary? Yeah, a movie like Rush for Michael Schumacher would be great as well. I mean, anything Formula 1 related that is also part of like mainstream media would be fantastic. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people, when you say Formula 1 to your average person, they're just like, oh, aren't their cars just going around in circles or whatever? And you could probably change that perception up by having a couple of mainstream films like Drive to Survive, or mainstream films or shows like Drive to Survive, like this new Formula 1 film, like Rush, like Ford versus Ferrari. Yeah, Ford versus Ferrari, what a film. Simply spectacular, that film. Ken Miles, what a guy. Max Verstappen going deep into turn number 1, overshooting his braking point, but he seems to be doing all right as he gets a fairly decent exit going down towards turn number 2. Once again, missing the apex again. Looks like he's lacking a bit of front grip, and I'm sure he'll be over the radio complaining about that soon enough. Sergio Perez comeback arc. Well, I mean, he's just stuck it on P1, and we're in free practice 2. So I recommend you guys to hold your horses, but yeah, I'd say Sergio Perez, he's got a little bit of time to make a recovery. Otherwise, Red Bull, they are quite quick to fire you and to dispatch you off to another team and get someone else in. All right, George Russell up into second place. He's done that on a set of medium tyres as well. Very nicely done. Lap times of 1 minute 18 there for Sergio Perez. Let's wait and see what Max Verstappen can do as he comes across the line now. He's out of the final corner, and it is a fairly decent exit. He actually hits the apex this time, and what can he do? Max Verstappen across the line he goes. Only 5th position for Max Verstappen on his first lap around. Oh well, second lap on a set of mediums, but let's wait and see what will happen. I think it'll be fine though. I think Verstappen will end up picking up the pace soon enough, or maybe they have just given Perez a bit of a boost by putting him on a lighter fuel load. It's hard to say. Right. Oh, I've met Carol Shelby years ago. That is wow. Carol Shelby, what? Well, that's must have been a pretty nice moment. I guess you probably met him before you watched Ford versus Ferrari, but nonetheless, if he's a cool guy, then that's fantastic, isn't it? Not many good car movies, are there? Yeah, there aren't that many. Um, would be great to see a couple more, and good to see Formula One coming up there. Uh, Why is the track 48 degrees? The track is 48 degrees because the sun is shining. Well, it was shining, currently behind a couple of clouds right now. But yeah, before track temperature was 60 degrees, now down to 48. So yeah, 48 degrees, and it will probably cool down a little bit more. Yeah, there we go, down to 47.6. Track temperature will cool down. That will bring the tyres more into the optimal range for the drivers. But yeah, the temperature's just so high because the sun is out and shining. Depends what you mean about car movies, like Taxi Driver or a Formula One movie. Basically the same job driving a car for someone else. Yeah. I mean, kind of. I guess that Drive. I mean, Drive isn't exactly totally about cars. He's a great man. Live in Pittsburgh, Texas, where he grew up. He had a house here and a farm. Small, about 5k people. Wow, he would just be himself. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I don't think I've met anyone remotely famous, to be honest. Um, but Cara Shelby, um, if you are to meet someone famous, Cara Shelby is a pretty good person to meet. Max is reporting braking problems, and that's not biting enough, says the Dutchman. Thank you for the info. And yeah, that seems about right. If he was missing the apexes on turn number 1 and 2, if it doesn't bite enough at the start, you don't get that initial jolt of the brakes that really ramps up the temperature and like improves your braking performance throughout, like into that corner and into the next corner as well. You can't peel off enough speed, and hence you go wide and miss the apex. I think F1 is missing the German Grand Prix right now. Yes, indeed it is, honestly. The Nürburgring, the Hockenheim Ring, any of those circuits would be fantastic. Honestly, what they were doing before, where they would alternate between the Hockenheim Ring and the Nürburgring, that would be a great situation. But yeah, no Germany this year. There was no Germany last year. There's been no Germany for quite a while now. I think when was Hockenheim Ring cancelled? Was it cancelled 20? I know there was a race in 2019. I think in 2020 its contract expired and there was no races after 2020. Oh, there are similarities between Monaco and Hungary. Indeed, there are. There are a lot of similarities, mainly the slow speed corners. And that's what Ferrari are banking on. A lot of Ferrari fans' hopes are saying that the slow speed corners are finally here, and Ferrari are quick in the slow speed corners. So let's wait and see what they can do. I for one think that Ferrari will be back. They'll probably be up there, potentially scoring a podium. That's what I think that they will be doing. They say Hungary is Monaco without the barriers. Indeed, it is quite a narrow circuit, and yeah, there's no sharp corners like there is in Monaco. Well, there's a few sharp corners, but most of them are quite wide radiused, and yeah, a little bit different to Monaco, but nonetheless fairly similar. What is your favourite track? My favourite track, I would have to say, is Suzuka, probably. Suzuka is my favourite track to drive on the Formula One games. Um, yeah. Great track to watch as well. Lots of, and quite a lot of Formula One history is at Suzuka as well. Who knows what Carlos is doing? Don't know what he's there in. I mean, Carlos is on an outlap now. I think he might be doing a bit of a push lap on those medium tyres, or maybe he's put some more fuel in the car and he's going to be doing a long run. But in terms of Carlos Sainz doing for 2025, no idea. I would say probably go to Mercedes. I think that's the most likely thing that will happen. I don't think Kimi Antonelli is ready. But yeah. Do you have a racing sim? Yeah, I guess I have a kind of a racing sim. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's I've got a Thrustmaster TXM Pro, I think, or a Thrustmaster something. It's got force feedback, but it's not like the best force feedback in the world or something. And then yeah, I've got pedals as well, so I guess it's a racing sim setup. But I don't actually do that much racing anymore. I used to play a lot, but now don't really have the time. And the other thing is that my racing sim is at home, and most of the time I'm at university. So, yeah. Sochi had some good races as well. I remember 2018, was it? 2018, Max Verstappen started in, I think, 18th position and gained 15 positions in the span of 7 laps or something. It was a great circuit for overtaking, and yeah, a little bit boring. It was quite flat, no sort of elevation change or anything along those lines, but we still had quite a few moments of good racing at that circuit. Yeah, racing sims can be pricey. Honestly, what did I do for my first racing sim? Well, my racing sim was secondhand, and I worked a summer job for it. So, yeah, it was. But mine ended up being less than £100 because I got it secondhand. £100, which is I think $150 or so. Yeah. Who brought all the upgrades here? It is upgrades from Red Bull and upgrades from Ferrari. Those are the two major upgrades. Aston Martin also do have upgrades, quite big upgrades in fact, Aston Martin. So they'll be looking to close the gap to the top 4 and finally kind of regain the form where they were at the start of the season. Yeah. Aston Martin, they started off the season great, kind of like Red Bull, and then their upgrades haven't been doing as much compared to the other teams, and they've been falling further back, behind. So hopefully these upgrade packages can turn that around for them. Yeah. Ooh, we've got a track dominance thing here. Yuki Tsunoda versus Daniel Ricciardo. Well, this isn't exactly a fair comparison. I don't know what the TV directors are trying to do. But yeah, Ricciardo's obviously on a quicker lap and quicker runs and different run plan compared to Tsunoda. Tsunoda's in the pits. But yeah, Ricciardo up in 5th position. Pretty much quicker everywhere compared to Tsunoda. That's a great deal. Indeed, it is a great deal. So I'm quite happy about that, actually. How old are you? I'm not going to specify my age exactly, but university, so yeah, guess you could work out an approximate thing from there. I have a G920, I'm thinking of getting F124 since F123, but F124 is a little too pricey. Oh, Charles Leclerc's gone off. Leclerc is off. We've got a yellow flag on the exit of turn number 4. He's gone off and has stopped the car. He looks like he's getting out. There's a Ferrari fan with a head in his hands, and Leclerc. It's a red flag. Does not look like. Oh no, I think for Leclerc's damaged. Has he damaged? I can't tell from the camera angle. He's either damaged the front left part of his front wing or no damage whatsoever, but he has just stopped the car. And interesting. Don't know what's gone on there. Maybe he's looking at the engine, he's looking at the exhaust, so maybe there was an engine issue, but Leclerc just climbs out of the car. And not sure what is going on. The mechanics look a little confused as well, which seems to indicate it's not a mechanical issue, because if it was, the mechanics would have been told immediately. But yeah, Leclerc stopped on the side of the road. Someone called P1 Matt and asked if he's okay. Indeed. Ferrari, how typical. Alright, we've got the replay finally. Here we go. He goes down the hill towards turn number 3, now going up the hill towards turn number 4. He flicks the car left and then goes over the curb and does a nice spin. Damages his front left of the... Yeah, okay. He damages his he might have damaged the front left suspension, might have got away with it, but the front left of the car is broken, and he's also touched the rear left as well. Yeah, the rear left took a much more significant impact, and the left side of Charles Leclerc's car is damaged a bit. The rear left more significantly slow than the front left, but the front left did take a bit of a beating as well. And rear left, that is quite significant. That's where the gearbox is. Well, the car's just, it's not specifically the rear left, it's just at the rear, but an impact on the rear does not have, does not do much good to the gearbox. So not ideal there for Charles Leclerc. We'll wait and see what he can do. But that car is going to take a while to recover, and it's going to take a while to fix as well. And that was the thing, Charles Leclerc, so essentially he went through turn number 4, flicked the car left, which seemed to be fine, but then went over the curbs, looked to get on the power a bit, and the car spun out from underneath him, and there was nothing that he could do. And that was the end of the session for Charles Leclerc. Yeah, looks like he will not be able to take part in the second session. But this is the thing, yeah, Charles really tried to hold it onto the circuit. I don't know why, because he could have just aborted the lap and then, went off onto the runoff area and just, be like, oh, I've made a mistake, I went a little bit too fast. But Leclerc, he got on the power again, and the car slipped out from underneath him. And it's a nice spin for Charles Leclerc. Well, not a nice spin, a bit of a horrible spin, really. It's going to compromise him quite significantly. Are you going to commentate on other sports like MotoGP, NASCAR, etc.? Well, MotoGP would be pretty nice to commentate too. I think, if anything, if I'm going to do anything, it would most likely be Le Mans, but or like WEC in general, not just Le Mans, but yeah, quite a lot of time it's just colliding with Formula One races, and yeah, I think there's already enough Formula One races for me to commentate. My throat really suffers most of the time, so we'll see. And the other problem is that most of the people that are subscribed are Formula One fans. I don't know how many of you would be interested in watching other sports. I've just joined. What happened to Leclerc? Leclerc spun out at turn number 4 on the exit curve, did a nice 180 and then crashed into the barriers, and then did another 180 and was stopped on the side of the circuit. Leclerc's Monaco curse was better than this. Yeah, Monaco, for any of you folks that don't know, Charles Leclerc had a Monaco curse of just not being able to score points, not being able to do well at Monaco. And then, of course, he went and won in Monaco, but now he's been cursed of just doing badly everywhere else, which is, I guess, in a way worse. So, yeah. Right, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. I'll be back in a second. Drink salted water. Yeah, no, I've actually done salted water gargling, and that helps a lot. And most of the time, I probably will do it tonight. Yeah, Formula E. Actually, I was thinking of contacting Formula E because they do commentary on YouTube for free practice sessions. So I was going to ask them, oh yeah, what do you think about if I do the commentary for the free practice sessions on YouTube? But no, haven't reached out to them that much. Haven't reached out to them yet. Formula 2 is definitely an option. Unfortunately, I don't get the data for Formula 2, so there'd be nothing up on the screen, which would be a bit of a compromise. But who knows? Who knows? I love motorsports in general, so I wouldn't mind other than Formula 1 streams. As long as the race is good, then it's fine. Indeed, yeah, a lot of good racing, and I'm sure most fans would be pleased. K-Mag might join Formula E. Yeah, well, I think K-Mag, maybe Formula E, maybe IndyCar, I don't know. Maybe if he goes to Formula E, he's going to... I don't think he'll destroy everyone, because even given the fact that he is a Formula 1 driver, there is a different set of things that you have to deal with in Formula 1, in Formula E compared to Formula 1. You know, Formula 1, there's a lot of focus on tyre management and tyre conservation strategy, and... Of course, there is the aspects of just going flat out in quali and things like that. Whereas in Formula E, there's a lot more about battery management, fuel management. Well, not fuel, but battery energy management. Where are you going to deploy your overtake mode? So it's a different set of skills, and it's not exactly... you might see K-Mag go over to Formula E and do well, but it's not exactly guaranteed, because the skills that you need are totally different. But endurance, K-Mag could definitely do endurance, and IndyCar that would be pretty nice. I agree with Ninja. As long as the race is enjoyable to watch and obviously enjoyable for you to commentate, then why not try it? Indeed, yeah. That's a good point actually. As long as I could get the data up on the screen so you guys can watch something as well, like visually see something while I'm commentating, then yeah. Alright, but yeah, as of right now, we are just sat in a red flag waiting for the session to restart. They've picked up the car for Charles Leclerc, and we are just waiting for the barriers to be inspected and repaired and whatnot before we go out again for green flag running of this session. Yeah. That track temp does seem hot. Indeed, it does. Probably, yeah. You probably could cook an omelette on that, or cook a poached egg, or whatever you call it. How did Checo get into first place? I'd probably say a low fuel. That probably helped him get into first place compared to all of the other drivers. I mean, of course, they are up in the 1 minute 18s regardless. A 1 minute 18 is nowhere near the pole time. It was a 1:16 last year, and we're probably going to go even quicker than that this year. So not too much to read into. He obviously did that on a set of medium tyres as well. Right. Charles was P3 in FP1, now he's out in FP2. Isn't that just the story of Charles Leclerc? He's not going to be pleased with that. I can tell you that for sure. Would you like the opportunity to race in Formula 1 if someone gave you the opportunity? If not, what other sport would you race in? Well, I think if I was given to race in Formula 1, I wouldn't actually qualify, because if you guys didn't know, actually, there's a rule. It's called the 107% rule, which means that if you are more than 7% slower than the pole time, then you are disqualified and you can't take part in the race because you are just too slow. Like, if you're 7% slower than the pole time, most likely in the race you're going to be lapped after 10-12 laps or so. And yeah, if you're going to be lapped in 10-12 laps, and you're just a moving chicane at that point, and it's much better off if you just didn't take part in the race. And yeah, I'd probably crash in the pit lane. Probably stall the car first, actually. Yeah, stall the car, that's much more likely. But if I was to race in any sort of motorsport, I don't know. Formula 1 seems like the pinnacle of motorsport. So surely that would be the place to go. Okay. Yeah, nothing much really. We're just waiting around for them to repair the barriers or inspect the damage. Folks, if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button. That would really help out the channel. And yeah, not too much else from me. Oh yeah, there's a Patreon. I did mention it last weekend, I think, but yeah, the prices that I set were totally ridiculous. So I've reduced them by 75% or something. So it's like £1 a month is the lowest tier, and you'll get like a shout out at the end of each stream. And yeah, a couple of other things as well. But yeah, if you guys are interested in helping out the channel, then the link to the Patreon or the Buy Me a Coffee link is in the description. How did you get into F1 commentary? Well, thank you for the question, Leonie. How did I get into it? Well, the first Formula 1 race I watched was 2018, and then after that, during COVID in 2020, I was like, oh, I'll just start a YouTube channel, see how far I'll go. I wasn't particularly, that much focused into it, or I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to do F1 commentary or anything like that. But I was just like, because I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2020 there were all of the, like, Lando Norris, George Russell, Alex Albon, all of these drivers were playing on the F1 games. Charles Leclerc, they're all playing the F1 games on Twitch. So I made a bunch of clips of that and like funny moments, videos and whatever. And then I found this data, and I was just live streaming the data during the race, and I'd occasionally make a couple of comments. But then there was this one person during the 2021 Russian Grand Prix that asked me to commentate it like Sky Sports. So I gave it a shot, and that's when I started the commentary. Someone in chat actually asked me to do it, and then in 2021, it was the Russian Grand Prix in 2020, and then in 2021 I properly started doing commentary, and the rest is, I guess, history, because you can see all of the history in the channel. Oh, F1 Gamer is the reason I got to F1 TV. Well, I wish they gave him a cut of the subscription. I do get a cut of the first month of F1 TV Pro subscription. Yeah. Do you have any news about Adrian Newey? That is good question, isn't it? Adrian Newey has announced, well, I mean, it isn't really much of an announcement. He basically just said, oh, I'll decide by the end of the year. Yeah. Session will resume in 1 minute or 2 minutes time, folks. It's to be confirmed, apparently, but yeah, they're just gonna give the final go ahead, like give a final thumbs up, and then the session should get going. But yeah, Leclerc had damage. How bad is the damage on Leclerc's car? The rear left suspension, like arm holding, whatever it's called. Oh yeah, by the way, it has been confirmed. Session will restart in 1 or 2 minutes time. Yeah, Charles Leclerc, the damage for him is, if they can fix the suspension of the right rear left, he should be fine. But apart from that, it's pretty minor everywhere else. The most critical thing is if he's damaged the gearbox, because it was a pretty big shunt. The medical car got deployed because they detected a high G impact, and essentially, yeah, that was the problem. So now we'll just have to wait and see. Ferrari will do a deep check, a deep inspection of the gearbox, and they'll let us know if it's working or not. And if not, they will replace it. But he won't be able to take part in the practice session, I don't think. It's going to take a while to fix that car. Yeah, he is okay. What is your favourite F1 engine? What is my favourite F1 engine? I'd say the Honda engine sounds pretty good. Oh yeah, Aston Martin are going to have Honda engines, I think, next year, aren't they? It's going to be a good change for Aston Martin. Maybe Yuki Tsunoda goes along with the Honda engines. It's hard to say. Of course, Honda being a Japanese company and Yuki Tsunoda also being Japanese. If Alonso decides to leave Aston Martin, or if his contract doesn't get renewed, then Yuki Tsunoda could be a driver stepping into Aston Martin. Okay, I would love to go to Goodwood one time. So cool to see all the cars from different generations. Yeah, all the different generations, especially with the V10s and the V12s. Oh, there we go. We have a green light at the end of the pit lane. George Russell, first driver out onto the circuit. All right. What else have we got to talk about? Oh yeah, I actually have a video of F1 engines through the years. It's the only video up on my channel. So essentially, It goes from the 1950s all the way to 2018, I think it is, and it's got all of the F1 engines that have been, all the different types of engines: the V12s, the V10s, the V8s, the V6 turbos, the V6 turbo hybrids, all of those different things, all in that video. It's quite interesting, really, to see how things have developed throughout the years. So if you guys are interested, then that video is up on my channel. Can I say I love the sound of the V8 engines while watching Formula 1? Indeed, the V8 engines, especially Sebastian Vettel's V8 in 2010, the blown diffuser, later on in his Red Bull career as well. Spectacular engine, I must say, spectacular. What would be your favourite V10 Formula 1 era? I would probably say... Well, since I've only watched Formula 1 since 2018, it's a bit hard for me to say my favourite Formula 1 era. But Seb Vettel was my favourite driver, so I guess it would have been when Vettel was winning all the time. Yeah. What happened to Chuck? He had a nice little spin on the exit at turn number 4, and that is why he's got a red flag. Well, he caused the red flag, and now we are back to green flag running. Very nice. Renault V10, yeah, of course, the Renault V10 that powered Fernando Alonso to victory in 2005 and 2006. Did you enjoy Vettel Aston Martin? Well, Vettel wasn't exactly winning races with Aston Martin. He did, of course, score a couple of podiums here and there, and I was hopeful that Aston Martin would become a top team, but it was not to be. Yeah. Which F1 team would you choose if you got a chance to drive a season? Well, I'd probably just choose the fastest, no? Yeah, probably the fastest. It's bad when you're just hoping for Leclerc points, indeed. It is, for Leclerc is having a tough couple of weekends, and things have not been going his way as of late. Ooh, George Russell, purple through the middle sector. Very nice there for him. Let's wait and see what he can do. He comes out of the final corner. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. Guan Yu Zhou has spun out on the exit of turn number 4. Guess that's exactly where Charles Leclerc spun out. And Guan Yu Zhou once again moving. It seems like he's just had a spin and he hasn't knocked it into the barriers, whereas Charles Leclerc did knock it into the barriers. Yeah, Checo probably saw Lawson's test times and realised he needed to step it up. Indeed, there have been Liam Lawson has been testing the Red Bull car a bit, and they'll be evaluating: is he going to go in the AlphaTauri? Is someone else going to go into the Red Bull? What's going to happen? Oh, Thomas Lord, thank you for signing up to the Patreon. That is very nice of you. Very much is appreciated, buddy. Grateful to have such great fans like you. In fact, Thomas Lord, I think you're one of the earliest donators of the channel as well. So, I'd like to say a massive thank you, mate. Simply lovely. Lando Norris tops the times there. Goes half a second quicker than George Russell. Wow, nicely done. We've just got a replay of Zhou's spin. He had a massive spin and just narrowly avoids Sergio Perez. Perez takes avoiding action while looking in his mirrors, and he's done a good job there to miss Guan Yu Zhou. And he comes over the radios and swears, but yeah, wow. And Tom Lord, since you have signed up to the Patreon, you'll get a nice shout out at the end of the live stream as well. Do you have a favourite driver that you're always rooting for? Seb Vettel was the driver I was always rooting for, but since he's retired, I've become an unbiased commentator. Not that unbiased, but more unbiased than the British commentators at Sky Sports. I can say that for sure. Still a second short of last year's Q3 time. Indeed it is. Last year it was a 16.6 for pole position, so still 1 second away. But track temperatures actually come down now. 42 degrees. It was 60 earlier in the day, down to 42. So as the temperatures decrease, the lap times should pick up the pace as well. Thank you so much for doing this for free. No worries. No worries. But Bolu. Alright, when's the next F1 race? Because the F1 calendar on their website isn't working. The next F1 race is next weekend at Spa. It is the Belgian Grand Prix at the second longest circuit on the calendar, and one of the best circuits on the calendar as well. Okay. Can you remind me of the colour coding for the sector icons? Green is driver personal best, purple is track best. Yeah, purple is the best out of all of the drivers. Yellow is slower than personal best, and blue is the drivers are coming in or out of the pit lane, and red means the driver has crashed, and the only person that's got red on the circuit is, well, the only person that's got red on the entire grid is Charles Leclerc, since he did crash in a couple of minutes ago. Actually, we do love your commentary. It's really good. Well, thank you very, very much. All right. 20 minutes left of the session. It's been a bit cut short by the fact that there was a red flag, but the teams will have taken that into account in their run plans, and we've got... yeah, most of their running has probably already been done. We've had the soft tyre runs as well, and Lando Norris seems to top the timing with those soft tyre runs. Max Verstappen currently on a flying lap. Purple through the middle sector he goes. Let's wait and see what he can do as he comes through turn number 13 now. Hits that apex quite nicely. Bottas peels into the pit lane, and we have got Max Verstappen coming out of the final corner. What can he do? Currently in 11th place, goes up into second. A quarter of a second behind Lando Norris there for Max Verstappen. So decent lap from Verstappen, but the question remains is, will this upgrade package for Red Bull work, or will it, or will it not work? That is will it work or will it not work? That is where everything, all of Red Bull's hopes rely on this upgrade package. So if it works, it's happy days for Red Bull, but if it doesn't work, then I think it's happy days for us. We're going to have 4 different teams competing for fastest team, competing for poles, competing for races. It's going to be closer than it's ever been. And honestly, I've got to say, it would be some spectacular racing. Do you like Verstappen? Yeah, I mean, sure, Verstappen, great driver, very quick. Why not? What is your predictions for this weekend? I'm going to predict a Ferrari on pole. Even though Charles Leclerc has just crashed, I'm still going to predict a Ferrari ends up on pole position. No, not on pole. I meant podium. I take that back. I meant a Ferrari on the podium. Yeah. What do you think about Carlos for next year? I don't think Benz will give him a seat for 2 years, maybe 1 year, because Toto's trying to get Max for 2026. They need an empty seat. Yeah, I think Carlos Sainz will get a 1-year contract somewhere. He ideally wants to get it at Mercedes, but who knows? Because when the 2026 regs come around, Carlos Sainz, great driver, still fairly young, still got a lot of experience behind him though, and yeah. Carlos Sainz will be a prime candidate for a quick drive, for a number 2 driver. Well, not a number 2 driver, but for a driver at a top team in 2026. So if he gets a 1-year contract, he can go to a top team in 2026. But yeah, let's wait and see. Why are the drivers still in the pits? They're just in the pits. They're refueling the car, changing the setup. We are just in the practice sessions. That's why everyone's just waiting around in the pit lane. Yeah. Right. Okie dokes. Let me know what your predictions are, folks. What do you think is going to happen in this Grand Prix? And also, I'd like to ask you one thing: is the font on the team radios, is that font too small, or is it too big, or is it the correct size? Because I can make it a bit bigger, but I would just like you guys to let me know what you think before I do go on and make it bigger. Because I know a lot of you guys are watching this on your phones, and it might be a bit hard to read on your phone. Perfect, good size. All right. Nice, nice. It's too fast to read anyway. Yeah, I think sometimes there's a bunch of team radius messages coming through at the same time. Normally in quali, when there's a nice queue and then there's another driver who's on a hot lap, you get a bunch of radio messages coming through in the first 10 seconds, being like, oh, there's another driver coming through, and then it's too fast to read. But yeah. Okay, a couple of you guys saying bigger, a couple of you guys saying it's good. I could make it a bit bigger. I could probably do it now, in fact. Let's see. There we go. A little bit bigger. But then you obviously only get 3 radio messages instead of 4. I'll experiment with it a bit. Maybe I'll have 2 columns of radio messages. Yeah, a couple of you guys are watching on TV, so no problems. Is an AI bot that enters all the text for a real person? It is an AI, so sometimes it's not perfectly accurate because it doesn't know all of the Formula 1 terminology and things like that, but most of the time it is just fine. Okay. 15 minutes left of the session. Drivers just lapping around. Lando Norris on a set of hard tyres now. He's doing a long run there. He's already done 7 laps on those hard tyres, and it looks like he'll be using up at least 1 set of hard tyres. Maybe for the race he'll be going for a medium hard, medium strategy. A little bit too early to predict as of now, but they're going for the hard tyres, trying to estimate the degradation they'll have, and the reason Lando Norris was in the pits for a bit was to fuel up the car all the way up to maximum fuel load, or maybe halfway fuel load, so they can get an accurate read on what the degradation is like, while also taking into account the fuel burning off and the car getting lighter and lighter. They need to find Yuki's booster seat. They lost it, and then he'll come back out. Yeah, Yuki, I don't know what he's doing in 19th position. There was quite a few not AlphaTauri. Actually, I'm just going to call them AlphaTauri. I don't even care. But there were quite a few AlphaTauri mechanics just stood outside the garage, kind of blocking the view for the media, as to what was happening in Yuki Tsunoda's side of the garage. So maybe something's going on there. Maybe they got a couple of repairs to do. But he's been in the pit lane for quite a while now. Still down in 19th place. Hasn't done any sort of runs on a set of soft tyres. Do they only get a certain number of tyres, including what they use in practice? Indeed, they do. They only get a certain number. I think they can request a different number, as in they can request, there's a maximum limit, but they can request a different number of softs. Like they can request 10 softs, 3 mediums, and 2 hards, or they can recommend 8 softs, or so and so. But there's a maximum upper limit that they can request. Yeah. This Brit colonization must be stopped in Formula 1. Well, see, this is the thing. A lot of all of these drivers actually have to be driving from a very, very young age. And the thing is that the people that, the driver academies, the Mercedes driver academy, the Ferrari driver academy, all of them are looking in Britain, because there is so much karting, so much motorsport that goes on in Britain. Given the fact that Formula 1 is based in Britain, it really does help out to having more and more British drivers. But there aren't that many. There's Russell, Hamilton, Norris. I guess Albon is partially British, but everyone else is nicely spread out across the world. Thank you. Does each team then start each set of race with the same number of sets as the... Does each team then start each race Thursday to Sunday with the same number of sets of each tyre type? Yeah, they get whatever they ask for from Pirelli. The teams, and then they can, they decide what they want to do with them. So Mercedes will decide that, we want to use soft tyres in practice, whereas some other team will decide, I want to use mediums in practice. But then come the race, they'll have slightly different tyre allocations of fresh sets. They'll have used sets, but you don't want to be using used tyres during the race. Isn't Formula 1 British? Yeah, I guess it started in Silverstone, so I guess you could say it's British, yeah. Can a driver be removed from the team mid-season if he's not performing well enough? Indeed he can. I mean, we saw this with Pierre Gasly in 2019, I think. Yeah, 2019. Pierre Gasly got promoted to Red Bull in the first half of the season, and then after that got kicked out, replaced by Alex Albon, who then again got kicked out. And yeah, no one was really competing with Max Verstappen. And still nobody is really competing with Max Verstappen as his teammate, at least. We've got a couple of other drivers that are competing with him from other teams. Yeah, the easiest way to learn about the tyre allocations is the F1 games. Okay, so also folks, if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Hopefully we can hit 80,000 subscribers today, and it might be a bit of a stretch, but yeah, if you are enjoying, then the subscription button would be greatly appreciated. Trying to hit 100k by the end of the year, that means we're going to need 2,000 people subscribing each Grand Prix for us to get to 100k by the end of the year. Yeah, so we've got 200 subscriptions today. So let's wait and see what we'll get tomorrow and the day after. Okay. We have got 10 minutes left of the session, not too much going on really. And Max Verstappen now on a set of medium tyres. Looks like he won't be going off for a hot lap on the mediums. But yeah, nonetheless pushing a little bit. Charles Leclerc, still in the pits, not likely to come out. His damage is a little bit too severe. And yeah, nothing that is that exciting as of now. All right. Let's wait and see. Since we're watching Max Verstappen, we might as well see what he's up to. Yeah, a bit of a... Well, he's obviously not pushing too hard. He's 2 seconds down in the first sector alone. He's filled up the car with a bunch of fuel, and now he's doing a long run, trying to get an estimate on how the tyres degrade in lower track temperatures. Track temperature is now 45 degrees. It was previously 60 degrees. So the team's now experimenting with different track temperatures and trying to figure out how the tyres develop in different stages of... how the tyres degrade, during different track temperature, while the track is different temperatures. I don't know what I was exactly going with there. Right. Is it possible that the teams aren't pushing to that much, or is the track just too hot? The teams just aren't pushing that much, I'm going to be honest. It is practice there. The drivers have seen what happens if you push a little bit too much. You'll spin out like Zhou or like Leclerc. You'll end up damaging the car. And now they're just doing their long runs. And Lando Norris is using the hard tyres because McLaren would like some information on the hard tyres. Clearly, McLaren, both Norris and Piastri, are out on a set of hard tyres. They're both doing long runs. And if you look at their previous lap times, Lando Norris's previous lap was a 1 minute 23.9. And Oscar Piastri's previous lap, we haven't even got Piastri's previous lap because I think he's just come out the pit lane. But not too far off. This is interesting. Lando Norris's pace on the hard tyres is similar to Russell's pace and Sainz's pace. Both of those drivers are on the medium tyres. So maybe it's the warmer track conditions is lending itself to the hard tyres, because this is the thing. The medium tyres, they'll overheat a lot easier than the hards, and that means even though they are technically and theoretically the quicker tyre, if the driver has to spend more time backing off the throttle a little bit, going a little bit slower to cool the temperatures down, then it might actually be better off to just go to drive around on the hard tires, where you don't have to do as much conservation and don't have to worry too much about overheating, and you can just sort of drive, and you might end up actually being quicker. So yeah, Lando and Piastri both doing a fairly decent job there, and yeah, Piastri's previous lap was a full second slower than Norris. I mean, that might totally just be down to fuel loads if Norris is trying to simulate a second stint and Piastri is trying to simulate a third stint. Oh no, that's probably the other way around. Norris simulating a third stint, Piastri simulating a second stint. But yeah, I feel like teams like to sandbag in practice till quali or the race start. Yeah, the teams definitely do sandbag in practice. That is one thing for sure. There's already a lot of rubber on the circuit after F2 quali. Yeah, there is rubber, but the Hungaroring really doesn't see much use throughout the year. And that's why, even though there is Formula 3 and Formula 2 happening, that there'll still be a lot of track evolution today and tomorrow. Yeah. Do you think they still keep tyre warmers in the pits since the track is so hot? Yeah, they do. They do keep tyre warmers in the pits. And the main thing that they keep the tyre warmers for is that there's two elements to tyre temperature. There's the core temperature itself of the inner part of the tyre, and then there's a surface temperature. And you must have a high core temperature, but when you talk about overheating, we're normally talking about surface level overheating, and the surface of the tyre starts overheating, and that's when you start losing grip. But you need the core to be up to temperature, otherwise the car just won't give enough grip. So what happens is the tyre warmers, they keep the tyre warmers on, they warm up the wheel all the way up to the core, and then as the drivers come out the pit lane, they drive super slow coming out the pits, and what that does is it cools down the surface so they don't overheat on their quali lap, but they still have core temperature because the core temperatures come from the tyre blankets themselves. Yeah. To get to the 3 engine allocation to last the entire season, I bet they're forced to tune down the speed during practice. Yeah, that's probably accurate as well. And also, why would you push the car that much in practice? You might as well put it in a bit of a coasting mode rather than going all the way to the limit. Because there's no need, especially if you push in practice and then you get an engine failure in the race, then that is the exact opposite of what you want to happen. Nico is really going to join Audi. Indeed, he is. A German manufacturer, hiring a German driver. It'd be great if they called up Sebastian Vettel. That would be fantastic. But I think Vettel probably isn't going to come out of retirement to join Audi, considering that Audi are taking a significant share in Sauber, and Sauber are currently the slowest team in the grid. All right. When do you predict a Piastri maiden win? Ooh, okay, right. This is an interesting question. It's going to have to be a circuit where high-speed corners are prevalent, and it's going to have to be a circuit where taking the curbs is also quite important, because the Red Bull struggles with driving over the curbs and the Ferraris are quite good in the slow speed. So it's got to be a high-speed circuit where taking curbs is important. So maybe Mexico, maybe Brazil. The Kota Grand Prix as well. It's another contender. Yeah, I think Kota, Mexico, or Brazil is three races where McLaren should have a shot, but that's so far away. We never know if Red Bull will suddenly bring a bunch of upgrade packages and be quick again, or what will happen. Will Audi make their own power unit in 2026? I think they will. I think Audi will be trying to get a new power unit in 2026. All right. I have a dream that Ferrari will make a podium this weekend. Well, your dream might actually come true. Ferrari seem to do a lot better in low-speed circuits, and this is exactly a low-speed circuit. and very nice font that you've managed to get there as well. Are Audi and Sauber merging? Indeed they are. Okay, we've got 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. George Russell's current pace on the medium tyres is a 124.0. Lando Norris's current pace is a 124.5. He had a bit of a slow previous lap. Let's wait and see what he can do as he comes across the line now. In fact, he doesn't come across the line, he comes into the pits. Yeah. Interesting. F1 Gamer has the layout for the track changed. I don't know why. It looks a little different. Maybe my imagination. Still curious. Yep, the layout hasn't changed, but for some reason it also looks different to me. I visualized it slightly differently, but I guess they've changed the layout on what I don't know. But the layout is the exact same. I think it just looks different on the software that I'm using. How many laps left? I mean, it's practice, so 2 minutes left. That's probably 1 or 2 laps. If we go through the speed traps, Russell is quickest through the speed traps, along with Kevin Magnussen and Carlos Sainz. So the Mercedes quick through the straights and also quick down the corners as well. Interesting. They're not that quick through the corners. It looks like the McLarens and the Ferraris are slightly quicker than them, but that is definitely a setup thing. They can add on a little bit of extra downforce, go a little bit slower down the straights, and still keep up a fair amount of top speeds as they go through the main straight and the back straight. What's your favourite circuit? I would say Suzuka. Great circuit to drive in the F1 games, great circuit to watch some Formula 1 racing. What happened to Leclerc? Leclerc spun out turn number 4, had a nice little spin over the curbs as he tried to get onto the power, and that is why he is out of the session and he caused a red flag. Right, to 1,300 people that have tuned in, that is absolutely fantastic, folks. If you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button as well. What else have we got going on? Not much really, not much. Everyone out apart from Leclerc, and they'll all be doing their final grid starts. Of course, at the start of in FP1 they did the grid starts in 60-degree track temperatures. Now they'll be doing it in 42-degree track temperatures, and they'll analyze what the clutch does in all of those different stages, and maybe and use that information to get the most optimal clutch settings for the race. Ooh, Lando Norris locking up coming into the pit lane. Seems like, Lando Norris, well, he went wide on the pit lane entry and then also locked the front left as he was trying to slow down. So not ideal there for Lando Norris. If it was the race, he would have a 5-second penalty coming his way. But that is the checkered flag that has been falling. The drivers are taking the checkered flag and then going to go to the grid to do a lap. That has been it, folks, for Free Practice 2. I will be commentating Free Practice 3 tomorrow. I'll start commentary half an hour before Free Practice 3 rather than just 15 minutes. And I also will be doing qualifying and the race, of course. A lot of action to look forward to. The Ferraris look to be up there. Well, Carlos Sainz does, at least. I'm sure Leclerc will be once his car is repaired. I don't know if they have a spare floor. There might be a bit of floor damage for Charles Leclerc, so we'll wait and see. I'll get an update from Ferrari about that. But that has been Free Practice 2, folks. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys have enjoyed the coverage today. And it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I will see you I'll see you tomorrow for the FP3 session and the qualifying session as well. Right, I'm going to end the stream. It'll take you over to the FP3 session for tomorrow. If you guys could hit the like button on tomorrow's FP3 session as well, really boosts the channel in the YouTube algorithm. It would really help out. But apart from that, that has been all from me today, folks. And once again, thank you everyone for tuning in. And I will see you tomorrow. Cheers, fellas.